let us bring it down home. There have been this raging controversy about Warri, war delineation exercise. Two things. One, you mentioned peace without justice. If you follow what is happening in Warri Federal Constituency over the year, there have been enforced peace, and that peace always come up like the hand of the crab. But the more they try to press it, justice is shouting for attention. Today, again, the presidency and the governor, everybody, you see, running where there was a threat, economic threat, to the source of Nigeria wealth. And you saw the presidency intervening with all might. And currently they are forcing peace. And some party, especially the rebels in Warri, are crying for justice. How do you think that peace, how long will it last?
Well, any arrangement that is founded on injustice, that is, in war situations, conflict situations, if you are going into conflict resolution, there are stages. The first stage is to prevent it from happening. So once you are not able to prevent it from happening, if it has happened, you intervene. Then when you intervene, you try to manage all sides. You are intervening in it. But when that intervention also fails and it becomes a shooting war, at that point, you now talk of management, conflict management. So you are going to manage the fallouts because the previous stages had failed. Now, this is the way it is. If all along you didn't intervene, you didn't prevent, you didn't intervene, and it becomes a shooting war, you have to manage the outcome. And it was almost getting to that with the Warri situation. So what has happened now is intervention. It's intervention to avoid the degeneration into a shooting war. So at that level, it's still very manageable. But whatever you are going to do regarding conflict resolution must take into account truth and justice. Once those elements are guaranteed, that is the only time you can discuss a lasting peace. I always say it. Once justice is guaranteed, you don't have to bother whether you are a minority or a majority. You will get what is yours. It is only when justice is not guaranteed, that is when there is apprehension. People are not sure whether they will be given their due. I'm an honorable man. Yes. Okay, within the context of Delta State, yes, I can post you as a majority stakeholder. What of within the larger context, national context? Can I also post you as a majority stakeholder? You say no, but if my own stake is guaranteed, why should I bother? What is underlying a lot of all these agitations and everything is just this injustice of resource allocation. Geography, the people, and how resources are appropriated and allocated. That is what is underlying all the issues in Nigeria today. And then you want to summarize it in one word, is injustice. So if that is guaranteed, that will be done. You talk of the Warri area, okay, you talk of three major groups, the Robo, the Shekiri, and the Jos. If everybody has his own place and all of that, people talk of land. Can you define land economically to me? Land is something you use for a purpose. There is nobody that can own land permanently and then when you die, you take it away. In fact, the land will consume you. Here you are now, you have hired this place for your purpose. So long as you are in possession, it's serving your purpose. when you don't have need for it, even if you own this building, it gets to a point where you say, okay, this building has served its purpose.
Yes.
You want it to move. You can sell it and move elsewhere. This is the way to look at it. You talk of land. Today, now, when you talk of investment or even in terms of possession, the Warri land, we see that a lot of these enjoy elements, they have come with businesses that has given them so much possession.
Of the land.
So, but if you are insisting on cultural ownership and all of that, that's fine, but it translates to nothing in terms of economic strength. That is the truth. But when I see people just talk and make so much noise about land, I lived 32 years in Lagos. I have property there now. But does it matter if I say, okay, I'm done and all of that? I have done with the land that I got. Whether I had houses or whatever and all of that, I can now move it elsewhere, and then I get my money out and move. If I want to go to Abuja, I can also say I don't want anything around here. I go to London. I will get land there. Am I a Londonian? But I will go there and get land for my purpose. When I have served that purpose, I move on again. That is the way to look at it. If you are not looking at it that way and then begin to do one kind, it's not going to work. Do you own land? How? Land is fixed. So how will you own it permanently without some kind of trading arrangement that will make you serve your own purpose and make another person serve his own purpose? These are issues that are not properly discussed for some kind of workable agreement to be reached. And that is because of elements, factors. Human beings will just want to use that as a means to remain relevant. Outside that, nothing more.
Okay, I want to digress a little bit. Robo political class more or less look docile when it comes to national issue. I'm taking a cue from the Warri delineation program. Robo, you say, command the majority status in data, but politically it seems otherwise because they don't have that majority override. From what has happened in Warri, we have Warri North, Warri Southwest, and Warri South. Just like we have Warri South and Udu Federal Constituency. Today, that Warri Federal Constituency now have 2 federal constituencies. Now has 6 houses of assembly seats. If you put in terms of number, population, if you put the 3 local government together in terms of population, it's not up to really not. Today they have 60 wards. But when you put these 3 elephants, really North, really South, Udu Federal Constituency, you bring Saple, Okbe, Uwie is like the London of data. If you put all together, you bring Etio Federal Constituency, see the population there, and yet the 3 really and Udu Federal Constituency just have 30 wards with their number, with the land mass, 30 wards, and we are comfortable. The same thing, you go to Saple, Okbe, and Uwie, 1 federal constituency, 30 wards. Why our Robo political class so docile? The only way you see their strength is pulling each other down like crabs. They have this crab mentality. What is your take?
See, let me tell you, this is some of the things that promote ethnic divisions and rivalries. The thing is, nothing needs to be reinvented. If you're talking of political representation, you're talking of, okay, proportional representation that is based on population.
Yes.
If that is well made, defined, and it becomes the guiding principle, you don't need anybody to do the agitation. It has to be automatic. It goes. it is like if there is a rule or the thing is well made, it is institutionalized that when you get to a particular level in demography, some particular number, that you are entitled to this. It becomes automatic.
But it's
Wait,
like that.
no, wait, it's not.
INEC refused to implement.
No, if INEC refuses to implement, first, yes, I know that there is so much lies with Yoruba leadership. But first and foremost, to ask, why is INEC refusing to do that without being prompted? Listen, in the US, the demography is worked out such that, okay, if a particular group gets to a certain level in population, in demography and all of that, it's okay, you can talk of Nigerian America, you can talk of this, you can talk of this. The matrix is already worked out. So also, we make ordinary things look difficult because of lack of sincerity of purpose. I know what you are saying. That yes, we should always be on vigilance, perpetual vigilance. We must always be on our toes to ensure that what is ours comes to us. That is okay. But I am saying that in a well-structured environment where operations are based on justice, that some of these things are already given. You do not need it, they've become statutory. That once you get to that point, then it happens. But if it is not happening that way, it means that fundamentally the structure which allows that is faulty. So once the structure is faulty and nothing is done about the structure, is the foundation of all the issues in this country. Is the foundation, which is that operators, people who are hired to operate the systems, will bend the system to satisfy them, to satisfy themselves. Otherwise, if it is that really north, really south, if the population is put together that we are so many in population and all of that, and it requires that for you to qualify as a ward, you must meet a particular demographic threshold.
Yeah.
If that is a law, you don't need any other thing for the law to operate.
But you know that is not
what
goes on in Nigeria. You must fight for everything.
Yes,
and sometimes you need threat to get what is due to you.
That is what I'm saying. That if we continue that way, the level of we will become so intensifying that we will just be so atomistic that we are perpetually on the path of self-destruction. I have said that I do not need to be a majority before I get what is mine, if the structure works. And so the starting point, yes, we blame Urobo leaders for sleeping on their right, because equity, they say, we aid the vigilant.
Wow.
That is the position.
Yes.
But it is also okay that if justice is applied, equity will have little role to play. It is only when justice is threatened that is when you invoke the jurisprudence of equity. But if everybody is ruled by justice, you will now say that things will work well, and the Shekiri man will not complain, Urobo man will not complain. Why should the Shekiri nation be claiming parity with Urobo nation in terms of demography? It doesn't make sense. The whole of the Shekiri nation maybe not up to Ogeli Kingdom. And so it's a fact. You don't have to contest that. But it doesn't mean that what belongs to you will be taken over. It is only when you overreach and then at the other side feel threatened, that is what brings all of this. And then the overarching structure, which is the federal government, all this INEC you're talking about, delineation and all that, they have a great role to play. I don't need to go to court to force you to do the needful. If it is, I only try, I will present it to you by way of information that this is where we are now demographically, and we qualify for this. So it is for you to investigate like they did. And once the investigation and they are convinced, operation of law, you just allow it to go. And so for some people to come and stop it and all of that, that is where the law, the structure should prevail. All of these politics of the governor coming to talk, president coming to talk, wife of governor coming to talk, will not happen. Will not happen if it is clear. And the only institution that has really showed some measure of courage and straightforwardness in all of this is the judiciary we're talking about. Yes, they insisted that yes, this thing is clear, and INEC, by that reason, should go. INEC didn't even have to be compelled by a court order to do what is right. What we can do on our side is to be vigilant, get the information, and then pass on to the relevant that by reason of our increased population and all of that, we are entitled to extra word, and then it goes.
So I'm coming with this line of question because of what Nigeria has become. If you sleep on your rights, others will override you. We talk about judiciary. We also discover that the authority of government, particularly federal government, security agencies attached to government and others, are government unto themselves. We have a case of Okuama, where some leaders were arrested and kept incommunicado. Nobody even know where they are. They didn't communicate to the community, the Robo Nation. All of us are being in darkness as to their whereabouts in the past 1 year plus. Recently, through agitation also and legal process, a high court in Warri gave a judgment, a federal high court gave a judgment that they should be released unconditionally, underline, unconditionally. So by now we are thinking that the Okuama leaders would have been welcomed to the hands of their family. But that is not happening. So where do we go from here? Because you just applauded the judiciary.
Yes, you know, the Okuama issue is particularly dear to me for a reason you all know. When the state government wanted to at least address the fallout of the crisis, when the army went and leveled the community following the killing of soldiers and officers of the Nigerian army, I was so involved. The IDP, the internally displaced person camp that was set up, the management of it was under me as chairman. And for 7 months we were into efforts, relief efforts, coordinating relief efforts to make sure that those persons, unfortunate persons, were taken care of until we broke the camp and then asked them to go back. The government also followed up to build those houses that they promised they were going to build. It's still work in progress. We're still discussing full rehabilitation because things have not really gotten back to their baseline conditions. Yes. I will say that it was in the middle of this that the army went all out to arrest some leaders from the community, and then the army, they have kept them in detention, running up to 2 years now or even more. This is it. The country is so deep to understand. I have spoken to this issue severally. In my column, I asked that in the recent in criminal jurisprudence, can you tell me the place of the military? There is no place for the military in criminal jurisprudence. If the only institution of government that has a place in criminal jurisprudence is the police, and then when you now talk of special prosecutors, that is when you can bring the EFCC, the DSS, maybe the NDLA as special prosecutors. Even though the person that is known in everyday operation of court, police, they will come as police prosecutor. At the magistrate level, you will talk of police IPO. At the high court, higher level, and all of that. If the police man does not have a legal education, and that is when the state attorney general will take over as the either the state attorney general or the federal attorney general. That is the position of criminal justice, yes, jurisprudence in this country. The army does not have a place. But here we are in a democracy. We are in a democracy. The army went and arrested. No, how do you explain army taking custody of persons that are not servicemen? There is something you call court martial, which is also part of the things, the process recognized in criminal jurisprudence. But court martial, you cannot try anybody that is not subject to service rule in a court martial. You cannot arrest a civilian and then subject them to a court martial. It doesn't happen. But here in the Okuama case, you are talking of the military taking custody of suspects. Civilian suspects, not military suspects. For 2 years. And then you have the federal court that has not shown even that the order even came is belated. I'm not really particularly impressed. There's something that is quite obvious. And then you ask, where is the Attorney General of the Federation in all of this? Where is the CNC? It's not as if the thing is in secret. It has been spoken about over and over again. Is clear. See, what has happened, or what happened was unfortunate. The killing of those 17 soldiers and officers. Unfortunate.
Highly condemnable.
Yeah, exactly. But no matter what, you don't have any way of describing it under the criminal or penal code. In the criminal code, the most you can give to that offense is murder charge.
Yes.
In the penal code, you cannot say is culpable homicide, punishable with death. There is no other description for it. And if you are bringing it either by way of charge or information to a high court for trial, the army, no soldier will come there as a prosecutor. It's the police that will come, or the attorney general. Now it's a federal case, so it is the attorney general of the federation that will come as a prosecutor of the matter. And at the very best, the army will come as a witness, nominal complainant. Short and simple. They have no rule. But here they are there. So how do you explain it? That it's like, as I am now, if I can now invoke some kind of powers that can overwhelm the Constitution, because that is what it is now.
Yes.
If some power that can overwhelm the Constitution, that can overwhelm the institution, I can take some people into custody, and then I will wait for the court to now order for me to release them. That is what has happened now. Because you can't explain it. The military has no right whatsoever. If it is people that are subject to service rules, yes, they can do all of that. They can come with their court martial, they can come with their ruling. And it's not even final. Whatever they will do, they will decide there.
It's subject to court.
Well, of course, subject to judicial review.
Yes.
And at the Court of Appeal or at the Supreme Court. And it is what is decided at that level that will be final. It's not what they do. But under military, that military regime, that is an emergency rule. Under emergency rule, anything can happen. but not under a democratic rule. It is a dent on our democracy as far as I'm concerned. And it's not good for the military. All of us are supportive of the military. We want things to work well. But we have very intelligent officers. People were read, and it's not the military of those days when people just cut and nail and all of that. But these ones are well processed. Some of them went to the best schools, have even basic education, go to universities to get degree in different disciplines, including law. So why they are behaving like this is that they don't have officers or persons that will advise them adequately. And then you expose them to this level of international ridicule.
Don't you think the military mentality of seeing an average Nigerian civilian as conquered people, this have a hold on them? Because the court gave several orders asking the military to even produce the suspect in court.
You know, there is something underlying. In civil society, they say the court is exercising futility, because if the court gives order against the military, who will enforce it? Even lawyers say so. You see, it's so bad.
So that is a sad commentary.
It's a sad commentary. It's a sad commentary. So are we running a diarchy that the military holds one level of power, then the civilian authorities hold another level of power?
And they are subject to the military.
Yes, that is what it is, that they don't even have coordinate powers. One is subordinate to the other. Because that is what has played out. That the civilian authorities subordinate to the military in the setup, as underscored by the Okuama case. And you know, if we are genuinely interested in having this country well built, but people should listen. Every stakeholder should listen. You know, each time I listened, when he was even in the service as chief of chief of defense staff, yes, Chris Musa, fine gentleman, speaks for everything and all of that. That is the level at which we are operating. Have you actually engaged some of these top military men? Intelligent people, brilliant. When you engage them, that is where you now understand the meaning of the gentleman. When you say they are gentlemen and all of that. There are people that work for peace, everything. It's a fortunate situation. Okay, after Okuama, what of all of this now happening against them? A retired, how many generals have been wasted? We are not talking of the rank and file that get killed every day.
How many communities have
they overrun and sacked and all of that? You don't do things like that. You don't do things like that. And in any case, when the law exists to protect the vulnerable, to protect the weak, it's not to protect the strong. So if Okuama community, for instance, they are vulnerable, they don't have anybody to talk for them. They don't have somebody that is a general in the military. They don't have even a big man. They don't have a top politician. They don't just have anybody. So you mean the Nigerian law, the Nigerian system cannot protect them? In criminal jurisprudence, if you are arrested as a defendant, especially in the capital offense, and you don't have money to even hire a counsel, a lawyer to defend you,
the state,
it is the duty of the state to assign a counsel to you to defend you. And so the Okuama community, they have become defenseless. Nobody to talk for them. And so the military can do anything. Even when the court has ordered they should be released unconditionally, you see they are waiting to be cultivated, to be patronized. In what way now? Who is going to give you patronage? Things that they should do and they will be applauded. No, what is their grounds? What grievance do they hold against the community? If they have evidence, okay,
come to the open court.
Exactly. Let us even leave other things. We're not talking of whether they should be the one to bring suspect to court and all that. Okay, we want to even waive that. Yes, you can bring suspect to court. Then come and present your evidence. And so law is evidential. If you see me kill somebody then and all of that now, That is not enough to convict me now. You must, even if it is there, that the prosecution must also prove the case.
Even when
All
you make
the,
a confessional
exactly,
statement.
all the elements of crime, the prosecution must prove it. The case of the prosecution is not on the weakness of the defense. It's on the strength of his own case. Even if I say I am not defending myself, that is not outright conviction. So this kind of thing that is happening, it doesn't say well of a country. We have at least managed 27 years in persistent, consistent democracy. At least we should have learned a lot of things. We should not be going back to Babylon. Once we have left captivity, we should move on.
Okay, sir. On a closing note, Nigerian state going into the 2027 election, what is your message to the youth, particularly in Delta State and our robo youth who always say, now who give me money, I go vote for? What is your message? Because the future belongs to the youth, but the youth are not, seems ready to even play in the future that we say belongs to them.
Yes. You see, I mentioned in the course of this interview that some of us think that life that is going to end with us, that our life defines the universality of processes. No. The eternity of processes is independent of our lives. We are just players, and then we have limited time and even role. When we are through, we go. It continues. That is the foundation. And when you get this in your mind, that is where you now say that you resolve every other issue. You resolve every other doubt on the side of the public, so that society can begin to thrive, can continue to thrive. If these youth or these present players, if they just say, oh no, 2027 we must get it or not, is the world going to end, or Nigeria going to end in 2027? Some people, in the studio here now, you have young people. If you don't make it now because of factors, why can't you work for a good society so that your children will make it? Because that is how it is. It's from generation to generation. It doesn't end with your generation. So my advice to this youth is that if they destroy the future, they will have no future to inherit. It's a philosophical, very deep, which is why in all cases the subsisting generation is actually holding everything about society in trust for the generation next. You don't have right to destroy what you have been given to hold in trust. But that is what we experience in this our generation. We just want to finish it. If you finish this land in Ogele, you say you are doing sand mining, you dig up everywhere and all of that. So in the end, where will generation that will come, where are they going to exist on? Where will they build houses on? The highest, the longest anybody can live now under the Nigerian situation. No, I want to be generous. 120 years. 120 years in the scheme of things. In the scheme of things, in the life of a nation, is nothing. Not even talking of the natural scheme. It's nothing. It's just like a flash. And so, my advice is that they should think of tomorrow, think of what comes next after them, and not what we end with them. I think that is my advice to them.
I want to especially thank you for making our time to be with us today on this platform, the Pendulum on Advocate TV. Here in Advocate TV, we tell the Niger Delta story in a very unique way. We bring the Niger Delta issue to the fore. Nice having you, and we expect to have you some other time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much
It's
for
our
having me.
pleasure.